I'm never sure if people can't hear me or if there's just a delay on the chat.
YouTube didn't start the stream for me yet, but that just might be YouTube things. It did now.
Yeah, it's not showing it has started on my end either.
Yeah, it's working now.
Okay.
I can hear myself.
Maybe if I refresh the page. Okay, yeah, there we go. Alright, we're good. We're live. Okay, so Elepri has been working on re-implementing the sound code, setting up OpenAL, which is kind of like the audio counterpart to OpenGL, and we're going to start trying to implement a new sequencer, which is sort of the when you have a MIDI format, it's kind of got two layers to it. There's the sequencer, which handles processing the file, reading through like the musical notes, and then it sends that off to the synthesizer, which turns those musical notes into sound using sound font. So we're going to be working on the sequencer part. The format that Legend of Dragoon uses for its music is, well, we call it SSSQ. There's no official name for it because it's sort of like a experimental interim format that they were using right at like the very end of the PS1's life cycle. It's kind of like a like prototype of the PS2 format. So it's sort of halfway between PS1 and PS2, and kind of weird to work with because it's super similar to MIDI, but then also not. But we can use the MIDI documentation to figure a lot of this stuff out, which is good. So we're going to start with the already reverse engineered Legend of Dragoon code for processing this stuff, and we're going to kind of work from there. Now, both of us only have kind of a tenuous grip on how these files actually work, so this is going to be interesting, to say the least, but we'll figure it out.
Yep. I think it's fine for now if we just handle key on and key off, because
Yeah,
those aren't truly implemented yet.
yeah. I think first off, I'm going to just make like a file or a data reader that will just kind of dump whatever it's doing, just so we can
Yeah,
kind
that.
of look through a log and make sure that it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Latch, no, it is not likely that you will get blasted with high volumes of static. I mean, unless you want to be, in which case that can be arranged.
I kinda fixed the static part already.
Okay, you're out of luck.
There's
Elepri already fixed it.
that there's no static in the sound banks, at least as far as I know.
Yeah, apologies.
I am not saying that you will like what you'll hear. Just saying it probably won't be static.
Yeah, I mean we've got some very basic test stuff here. You'll hear it when we launch it, and it just basically goes through and plays each of the layers.
Yeah, I think it currently plays them on top of one another.
Yep, sure does. And they're off key and everything because we're just playing them at a fixed sample rate. Hey Kakashi, I'm doing alright. What about you? So we're just gonna do, I guess, an infinite loop for now to start us off with.
The question is, you probably don't want to put that into the take method.
Where do you suggest we put it?
It should be. It should probably be in play. Because the taking should actually buffer only the audio data.
Okay, where is the play method?
I think if you scroll down well, there isn't any. So yeah. My first idea was for it to have its own clock and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then later on, I kind of changed my mind and thought that it's better if there's one dedicated audio thread that handles all of the time events.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna jack it into here for now while we're doing this early dev. And, well, actually, tick runs repeatedly, right?
It's only run once right now.
Okay.
But
Well, yeah, I'll just jack it into here for now, and then we can move it to a more sane spot after that.
yeah, sure. The only thing that's calling tick right now is the debug code at the start of FMV.
Okay. So we're gonna read an unsigned byte. And that is going to be our command. Yeah, so the way
I
that...
see you're a sensible person and don't do the plus plus inside of the redo byte.
Yeah, I thought about it and decided against.
I did use it in the OpenAL code.
Yeah.
I felt bad for it.
I'll forgive you. I've done it too. Hey Chris, how's it going? So the way MIDI and SSSQ work is that I guess in order to save one byte here and there, you can omit the command byte, and it'll just use the previous one. The way that they detect that is that commands always start with the high bit set, and the parameters are all only 7 bits. So if you finish reading a command and the next byte does not have the high bit set, then you know that it's a repeat.
So the on or whatever it is, the 81 is just empty. So it's just command 0, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
If it's x80.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna need to track what the previous command was because of that. I think we might want like a state class that just kind of keeps track of all of this stuff. And it's just going to be public everything because that's a hell of a lot easier, and there's not really any reason to do access control here.
I tried. Half of my code actually isn't public.
Okay, so is the point of this to be one BGM instance per sequence?
It's one BGM per sequence, yes.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's capable of playing more of these.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so I think here we need to, actually, I guess I should probably use the MIDI terminologies just to keep things consistent. It makes it a lot easier to use the MIDI documentation. So we'll just call this read event, and we will rename this to event, and this will be previous event. The LOD code does some look ahead here. I'm not sure if we'll need to do that. I'm not going to bother to do that. But here we are going to do this check. If the event does not have the high byte set, then we will do this. Otherwise, we will advance the pointer. And just make sure this matches up. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and we need to set.
Oh, I hate that else keyword.
You hate the what?
The else keyword.
Oh. Now, we have to figure out what the hell this method is doing and if it is at all important for us to do anything in here. This looks like it's setting up instruments and layers and things. It is also potentially loading the SSSQ-ish files, which is one of those file types that's embedded inside of the SSHD. We probably don't need to worry about this here.
Yeah, this entire thing is not set up to handle the sound effects, so we can just eat that.
Yeah. Okay. And I wonder if we want to split the channel out of here as well.
Yes, because you want to be referencing the channel that you actually have to change.
Okay, so we will have command and channel here. This will be the high nibble of event, and this will be the low nibble of event. Almost started writing PHP there for a minute. Oops, not OX80, F0.
Wait, you want to only do this if it's not the previous one, right?
It doesn't really matter. I can move it, but yeah, it would be fine either way. Um, should we bother making an enumeration for the command type?
Oh, that's probably best, because it's gonna be running that a lot.
Okay, so we have key off. Wait, wasn't... I thought key on was 80. Do I have that backwards there? I might.
I think you have. I think like in MIDI it's this way, but I'm not sure if it's not backwards in the LOD thingy. I will have to check.
Okay, no.
I
Off
have
is
seen
first.
I have seen some documents about specifically SSQs which had it the other way from MIDI. But that should be pretty easy to detect when we have like a debug.
Okay, so key off, key on, polyphonic, key pressure. Hey, Drew.
And there are
What's
some
next?
more that I've seen somewhere in some of the docs.
Yeah,
And
control
I don't remember
change,
where that was.
program change, pitch bend. Meta. Okay. Yeah, there are some that we aren't doing here. We don't have D, whatever D was. Let's see what D was. Channel pressure, pitch wheel. Let's see, we've got... Yeah, we don't have channel pressure. But I processed, I think, every single one of the SSSQ files into MIDI at one point, and did not encounter that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess also, I mean, you know, we're looking at the actual LOD code here, and they don't have a handler for D, so it must not be in use.
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
wasn't able to figure out what the data entry is actually.
Yeah, it's for sending parameters to specific commands. Um, so like some commands use like you send in data entry first and then
The
you
command.
execute a different command. Yeah, it's complicated. The MIDI format is really weird. I don't like it very much.
I think the reason why it's weird is because it was a very hardware thing back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. exception. Actually, I'm gonna make that. Okay. Then we can just do MIDI command from event. Okay, that's gonna make this nicer. So we can do case key off. I guess I might as well just stub all these out. Just gonna copy that over there. Polyphonic key pressure, control change, program change, and meta.
What I found funny is that it has a lot of the values initialized in the SSHQ, but it sets them up anyway, like once again.
That's odd.
Yeah, like if you look at the sequence, it will set up all of the programs at the start, and it already has them in memory.
I don't really know what to say about that.
Just allow these things.
Yeah.
Okay, so here on, I don't actually think you should be calling a handle key off here, or a
Why
handle
not?
key on here. Because the way it's set up, you can actually pass them to the actual channel, and when you take them, it will process the data based on key on or key off. Well, it's not really properly implemented there yet, but that was kind of the idea.
Okay.
So each command you should just be passing to channel.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I'm gonna stub these out and then I'll just copy them over. Pitch bend and meta. And we'll have to pass the state in because that's private on this class. Okay, I've been having this issue with Windows 11 where I'll just be doing something and randomly a folder that I have open just pops up. And I have no idea why. Just Windows 11 things, I guess.
That is why I didn't update my system to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, but Easy Anti-Cheat in the Master Chief Collection uh, absolutely refused to allow me to play MCC online because I had a Windows update pending.
Just amazing things.
Yeah. It's great. Okay, so you got all those package private, that's probably reasonable.
Yeah, I don't think you should be interacting with anything here other than the BGM class.
Yeah. Okay. And rather than this switch statement, we can probably just use a small jump table. Function. Actually, doesn't have to be a function. Consumer. No, this will be a map. No, a map of MIDI command to a consumer of MIDI state. Why do you not know what a map is? Please?
That's just what I love about Java is when you try to make a list and Java makes you import a library for that.
Okay, what should we call this? Event handlers. Make this an enum map. How is this gonna work?
So you can just... Okay, so you need to call a channel that's on the index of the channel from the...
Yeah, we need to call that on the channel. Why is my brain not working right now?
So that might be hard to do with the jump table.
Yeah.
Because you don't know which channel you're gonna be jumping to.
Yeah, that is an issue. It's technically possible, but would be messy, so scratch that.
I think that just the switch statement is fine.
Yeah. Okay, so final channel, channels dot get this state dot channel, and then it's going to be channel dot handle key off. I keep trying to use my laptop shortcuts. Key on. Nope, that was not key on. Also, I missed the semicolons. Actual key on. Polyphonic key pressure. Control change. Program change. Pitch bend and meta. Okay. this out for now.
And then after this, you want to get the delta time and then pass it over to
Yeah.
rechannel and take it.
Okay, so we need to figure out how many bytes each of these commands uses so that we can skip that many.
Key on key off is definitely one.
Yeah. Is it even a single command byte? It's
It's a single command,
um,
yeah.
no, there's 2 bytes. It's the note number and then the velocity. Yeah, yeah, note and velocity. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to be doing stuff like this in these implementations.
Aren't you already incrementing a little bit over the offset?
I'm incrementing by 1 when reading the command.
So if you offset by 2, don't you get...
Key on and key off have both note and velocity as parameters.
Oh, so it's 3 bytes, okay.
Yeah. Okay, 80, 90, where is A? Is A not actually used in any of the files?
A is used, it's the pan
Yeah,
thing.
but I don't have a handler for that in the MIDI writer, and it did not explode when I
I'm,
ran it. So it might not actually be
I'm
used.
pretty sure it was there. Let me check.
No, it is there in the game's code, but
Uh,
I don't have a handler for it in the MIDI converter that I wrote.
I think it was
So
some sequence.
that's polyphonic key pressure. That's also a 2 byte.
And I think this thing was somehow changing the layers or whatever. The polyphonic key change, which is why the current implementation of sound might be broken.
Okay, well we can look into that. Okay, control change is 2 bytes. That's not how you spell control. Program change is 1 byte.
Is it always 2 bytes? Can't it be more? I'm not sure if it sometimes cannot be more than
Oops,
2.
I missed that.
Because it's the command, then it's the value of the then it's the which one of the controls it is, and then its value. And I'm not sure if that value is always 1 byte.
Well, let's take a look at the MIDI converter. Are you talking about control change right now?
Yeah, control change.
Okay, control change is B0. Um, okay, and control number. No, it's just 3 bytes total.
So it's always a 1 byte value.
Looks like it. And then pitch wheel, pitch bend is always 2. And meta is a variable number. Oh, look at this. Pitch bend in the SSS queue is only 1 byte. They don't use the fine pitch. Okay. And for the meta event, we need to read a data length.
I don't think we do, actually. Only gonna be two meta events. One of them is tempo change, which is always 3 bytes for tempo. And the other one is end of track, so we can just end there. I don't think we actually need the data length.
It's fine. We might as well read it anyway. So we'll advance the offset by 1. Data length equals state dot. Oh, we need to be able to read the file data as well, don't we? So we will move the sequence into here. Where are we initializing state? Oh, we're initializing it there. Okay. So we'll move this down here. Did I make that private? Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. Yeah, state dot sequence dot read unsigned byte state dot offset. And then we're just going to state offset by the data length.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, does that all make sense? I think it does. And then we're just going to implement the toString. We'll pass the index in here. And the toString is just going to be channel. Okay, so I think that's almost it. We just need to read the varint.
Yeah, which should be the delta time, right?
Yep. Okay. media byte, offset, and then need to
Just
advance.
plus it.
Yep. Okay, so we do varint or equals. This is where it gets weird. Actually, you know what? I've got the code right here. We can do this just fine. Yeah, okay, so that's easy enough. We just shift left by 7, and then OR it with part and 7F, and then if the part had the high bit set, then we're done. That makes sense, right?
Shouldn't you be done before doing the variant?
What do you mean?
It's already the command. You don't want to.
Oh no, this isn't the command, it's just that the last byte of the variant has the high bit set.
Oh yeah. Right. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And then here I'm just going to do, actually I'll just log this up here. Okay. Delta time equals this dot read variant. Alright. Gonna put a, whoops, I just ran that with code coverage. That is not what I wanted to do at all. Crashed immediately. Channel null. So, this does not map up to the MIDI channels then.
Or something's wrong with the sequence reader.
Okay, let's look at these. MIDI channels. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Does that match up with what you expect?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. So immediately we're getting channel null. The channel from the command is 15.
So that would be E. I think. Wait, is that the sequence? Which is FF517E0000.
Yes, so we don't, wait. For the meta events, I don't think the meta event is made up of, yeah, no. Okay, so we don't read that for meta events. Okay, so channels don't handle meta events, so we need to refactor this slightly.
Oh yeah. Meta events are for the entire sequence.
Yep. Okay. So, let's cut this out of here. Paste it here. We don't need that. We'll just put meta for now. Quick fix and
I pray for the person who has to refactor this in the future.
I mean, it'll be us.
I know. It reminds me of the comic where it's like there are like three windows, and in one of them there's like past me. Future me will do it. Then there's like a present me. No, future me we do it. And that's that. Then there's the future me. You two are assholes.
Yep.
Why isn't it doing?
Okay, so we got meta, channel 0 key off, channel 0 key on. I have a feeling this is wrong.
What is?
What file is this loading?
It's loading the menu, the opening menu music.
Do you remember what file number that is?
5820.
Okay. And the sequence is file 1? Yes. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, actually, you know what? Let's just trace through this fully. Oh, apparently you can't put a breakpoint on a while. Okay, so our first event is FF, that is expected. Command is meta as expected. And channel is, well, we don't, channel is meaningless here, so that doesn't matter. Handle meta, data length is 7e. That does not make any
Yeah,
sense.
that's not correct. 7E is already the
This,
tempo.
yeah, this might be different.
The length should be.
Right, I don't think that, yeah, the SSSQ uses a different format, I remember that. There is nothing after end of track.
No.
Tempo change.
So essentially, FF is meta event, 51 is tempo, and then 7E0000 is already the data. So I don't
Yeah,
think it has data length. I
no,
think it's
700000 is the delta time actually. Um, End of track does not use any data at all. And tempo change just has the tempo as a short value. So we will have to read the sub event here. byte offset, and then switch meta case 2F. We'll just say end of track, and for 51, and we don't have any of that because that's not how SSSQ works. Okay, does this make sense? We read the meta, advance by 1, so that'll give us the 2F or 51. 2F does not have anything after it, and tempo has 2 bytes after it as just a short.
Wait. 2F actually has 1 byte after it.
No, it doesn't.
It's FF2F00 for end of track.
No, that's the delta time, I'm pretty sure, because
That might be the case. That it just does delta time after it. I don't know why it does delta time after ending the track, but okay. More power to it.
that delta time is very important. Okay, let's try this again. Handle meta. We get 51. Tempo is 126, that makes sense. Delta time is 0. That also is correct. Let's run another one. We get control change and delta time 10.
Yeah, that's expected.
Yep. And then program change 1, that's correct. Program change 2. And we should get program change 4. Program change 8. Then 0. Then 3.
Because it would be too hard to do them in order.
Yeah, right? Okay, then we get control change, which is, yep, B1, B2, B4, 8, 0, 3, 1, 2, 4, 8, and then we eventually get to a key off.
So shouldn't the key on and key off be inverted then?
No.
If the key off is first, then it starts doing key on.
'80 is definitely key off. We can verify that very easily looking at the code. If we go here, you can see it sends the key off. This is eventually read and sent to the key off register. So it is 100% key off.
Interesting.
Yep. The insane one says, what are you trying to code? We are writing a new sequencer to read the sequenced audio files so that we can add music support to the game. Or to separate chains, I should say. as the base game obviously has music support. We just haven't implemented it yet.
So technically now, if you were to handle the key on and key off in the channel, and you would run the while loop, and then every time you hit the delta time, you would send it through the buffers. It should, in theory, start playing.
Yeah, before we do that, I'm trying to figure out where this pitch bend message came from. So we had 1, 2, 4, 8 for control change. 1, 2, 4, 8. And then we should have had 83.
That's B0 command there. The OA, which should be pitch bend for about 5 channels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, for 6 channels, there should be 6 pitch bends.
But it was all... Where is... Okay, so we... Oh, this was part of the delta time. Okay, I was interpreting that as a key off. Okay, so this pitch bend is the actual command we're looking for here. And then back to control change, and then we should have a key off. Wait. Pitch bend, control change. Did I mix those up? No. Or... Okay, no, I'm too far behind again. Okay. Okay, everything's fine. Everything is fine. Then I think the next one should be a key off. Yes. And then a key on. And I'm just going to let this run through and make sure it doesn't crash. Okay, it does crash at end of track just because it keeps trying to read. Okay. That makes sense because this is an infinite while loop. So we need some kind of way to bail out when we handle the meta events here.
Well, essentially, so what should the tick do? It should read until the first delta time. So I think if you break out of the loop after the delta time and just send it and take each channel, it should be fine.
Yeah, I'm just adding like a end of track flag here.
Also, you can easily like check it there.
Yeah. So for now, we'll just do while not this state.end of track. I know we won't be looping over the entire thing, but just to test this. Okay, worked fine. Didn't get anything because I'm assuming everything got key offed at the end.
You're not passing it to the sound.
Oh, right, we're not even taking the sound, that's why.
If you just change that,
Okay, that is the same as what we had before. So that's a little odd. I would have imagined everything would have gotten keyed off.
you're still taking for. You're not like the channels are not actually processing it. You're
Yeah,
still passing the
I just figured that everything would have gotten keyed off at the end of the sequence, so nothing would have played.
key off is not processed at all. Like it doesn't check for key off.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're not using state at all. Okay.
Yeah. I've only started implementing that
Gotcha. Okay,
because
now...
I'm not actually sure if key off will be processed by anything else than the ADSR. Because it gets a little tricky. You can have a key off, you can have another event, another take, and the key off can still be playing through multiple takes because it's in the decay phase.
Okay.
So key off doesn't actually mean like no sound.
Yeah, so now we need to figure out how in the hell this works.
And what you're looking at right now?
This is the actual, like, delta time to wait.
So the delta time, like it has hard set sample rate right now. So it won't do the proper times, but if you just push the delta time into the take, it should just
Yes,
calculate
but
it.
we need to convert delta time into an actual, like, wait period.
But
Um,
that shouldn't be done here. It should be being run from outside by an actual audio thread.
yeah, but still we need to convert, we need to use the tempo and everything.
Yup.
Okay, so we're gonna need to record tempo as well.
Well, the actual time is gonna be correct. Just the sample rate's gonna be wrong. It's already converting the takes into actual time segments.
But the variant is uh, it needs to be changed based on the tempo and the ticks per quarter note.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
Or is that only for calculating how many samples does it has to load?
No, it's the amount of time that it waits.
Okay, that's very annoying.
Okay, so we need to load the tempo and the ticks per quarter note from the SSSQ.
The BGM should have a...
We do have this SSSQ class here.
I think I set up tempo somewhere already. I'm just not sure where exactly it was.
Are you sure that's read as int24? Because I just have it being read in as unsigned short here.
I'm pretty sure all of the docs set in 24
Was that for MIDI or for SSSQ that you were looking at?
for SSSQ.
Okay, well, I'll look at that after. Okay, so you also have an SSHD class here.
Yep. You should be able to access it.
You should probably just use this one because it's already got everything that you're going to need. The SSHD and SSSQ classes that I've got set up already have, they already load all the data and process it all.
Yeah, but it has unnecessary overhead for me.
A couple of microseconds.
Yes, but you know, I was trying to make this very fast because it's gonna be run a lot.
Well, this is the loading part. Like, this is only run when it's loaded.
And I think I have some bindings from the SSHD to the actual sound bank, which is what I was missing in the originals. But you can just reference the the sound bank directly. It's fine.
Well, I'm going to use the SSSQ class for now at least. What was that called? Yeah, I did have this generic reader class. We don't need to use that here. since the SSSQ reader was used to read both the SSSQ files and the SSSQ-ish files. I'm just going to allow reading that directly. Or rather, I can just do that. And we need a ticks per quarter note. Okay, I'll just run this again, make sure this is all sane. So for ticks per coordinate we have 480, and tempo is 126. That is exactly what we expect. Okay, so the way they're doing it here is a bit odd because they're using a 1 decimal fixed point number. So like they're multiplying by 10 to get a little bit higher resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Ticks per second is always 60. I checked that, so that's going to be divided by 3600. Since it's 1 decimal, I guess that would be dividing by 360. Okay, delta time. I don't know what to call this value. It's delta time, but 1 bit or 1 decimal fixed point.
Floatish point. It's actually not floating point if it's fixed, but
Yeah.
fixed-ish point.
Okay, I'm just gonna call it delta time fixed point 10 for now. so this is taking that divided by milliseconds per tick, which makes sense. Hey Zikara. I guess I should just be able to divide that by 360 instead of 3600 since I'm not scaling up here. Although honestly these don't really need to have default values since we're setting them right off the bat. So let's see what we get there. Whoops, I clicked play instead of debug. So we get 168 milliseconds per tick.
Mm-hmm. So we need to... The easiest way, we need to convert this to a number of samples.
Does this make sense? Let's make sure this makes sense first. So if there's 480 ticks per quarter note, and we are running at 60 frames per second,
Mm-hmm.
or I should say 60 ticks per second. No, that doesn't make sense. Because 480 divided by 60
Gonna
is
be 8.
8. Yeah. So that would be 8 seconds per quarter note if we were running at 60. Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. Okay. I'm going to look up, see if I can find how MIDI handles this. Yeah, this talks about variable length quantities but doesn't actually say how they're used. Controller messages. Yeah, that's just an example of writing variants. Yeah, so this is how MIDI handles the tempo. It's in microseconds per quarter note.
Well, that would kind of make sense, right? if it's not milliseconds but microseconds.
Yeah, but we definitely don't have microseconds here. Yeah, ticks per beat, so that'd be ticks per quarter note. Not given as beats per minute, but rather microseconds per beat. Yup. We return a floating point number. It's not related to what we're doing here. So what if it's milliseconds per beat? Okay, how does this math work out? How is 500 microseconds per beat 120 beats per minute?
Well, that can be right, because
So that's half a second per beat. Yeah, that makes sense because it's 120.
yeah, because it's microseconds, so
Yeah,
it's half a beat per second. You go up by a million.
yep. Yeah,
It's
so that's half a second per beat, which
2.5.
60 divided by 0.5. So 60 divided by 0.48 is 125. Okay, so our value is in fact milliseconds per quarter note,
Mm-hmm.
not ticks per quarter note. Wonder if that was in the no cache docs.
The no cache docs are pretty sparse when it gets to sound.
Yeah. Is that in CD-ROM file formats?
No, it's in the sound processing units.
Right. I guess I could just search SSSQ. Yep. Basically nothing at all. We should probably submit our findings to him.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at this again and see if it makes sense. 68 milliseconds per tick. So if the number of milliseconds per quarter note is 480, but shouldn't the milliseconds per quarter note be based on the tempo?
That should be yes.
So why is this being multiplied here like this? How does this make sense?
It would make more sense if it were ticks per millisecond rather than milliseconds per tick.
But I'm not understanding why this value, which should be derivative of this value, is being multiplied together here.
I think because if you have higher tempo, you have more quarter notes per millisecond.
Yes, you would, but what I'm saying is that ticks per quarter note is based on the tempo, right?
That should be yes.
Like this value would just be tempo multiplied by whatever constant. Um,
Not gonna lie, it's too much for my 2 a.m. brain.
I wonder if we can look at the Java sequencer. Yeah, so it's dividing there. Okay, so that makes sense with what we're reading. Don't know what the hell a tempo factor is. Get tick length. Wow, this code formatting is terrible. I'm just stuck in a loop here.
I love code that has more comments than code. It usually indicates that it's very well written.
Yeah. Okay. So this might help. Last tick of the track. If the events, this is empty, set it to 0. First, see if we are trying to add an end of track event. Since end of track event is useful for delays at the end of a track, we want to keep the tick value requested here if it is greater than the one we're maintaining. Okay. But I am still confused where this tick value is coming from. Since it only seems to be getting set to itself. It's either getting set to 0 or set to the value of another event, but no, there's nowhere that it's actually getting set. Oh, it's in the constructor. Okay, I'm just an idiot. Yeah, okay. Look at this. This is exactly what we are doing. This is perfect. Okay, so get tick. I have a feeling real-time sequencer is what we're looking for. Chase track events. Go through all events from start tick to end tick. Chase the controller state and program change state, and then set the end states at once. What does that even mean?
No idea.
Okay, what is end tick here?
It could be calculating the entire sound from the key on to key off. Maybe.
Yeah. Love finding to-dos in the JVM code. Okay, this is definitely the method we want to look at, pump in real-time sequencer. I'm still not convinced that we shouldn't just use this sequencer with a custom synthesizer.
Oh, we probably can, yeah.
rather than writing our own from scratch. I think that might be a better solution. From what I saw, it is entirely possible to do that.
Hmm.
I would like
I
to...
wrote,
Go ahead.
yeah, I wrote the channels with the idea in mind that it's just taking like the events and then it's being like thick warped and it synthesizes everything. So just switching to something like this should be entirely fine.
Hmm. I'm guessing that this is going to be using... Yeah, this is definitely just wrapping the Java classes. I think we can probably figure out the math here fairly easily. Um, so this is the number of ticks that have passed. Okay, help me out here. So we've got 126 beats per minute,
Hmm.
and uh, beats per minute, and we have a delta time. Uh, that was the number of ticks that have passed, I believe. The number of ticks that have passed since the last message. The length of a tick is defined in ticks per beat. Now here it's saying microseconds per beat. I wonder if that means ticks. I don't think so.
A microseconds per beat is the if you have like half a million microseconds per beat, that means you would have uh,
That would be
if
120 beats per minute.
it'd be 100 and but how many ticks are there? It has to be a set amount of ticks, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think you're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, I mean this is the delta time that I'm looking at. Um,
You want to maybe scroll down to converting between ticks and seconds. Okay, and this uses the ticks per beat. Often called pulses per quarter note. So I'm thinking
I
the
wonder if
ticks per...
that's... So it's saying ranges from 96 to 480. This value is 480.
Yeah, that would fit. Because if this was a ticks per beat,
Okay, that's what I did have it called before, but for some reason that I have already forgotten, I renamed it to milliseconds per quarter note.
so if you had ticks per beat, it would make sense that you're multiplying it with the BPM.
Yeah.
If you divide it by 60, and it's converting it into minutes, into milliseconds. Yes, so it would be milliseconds per tick. Because this is in minutes, right?
Mm-hmm. We
So
may have
divided by
cracked the
60
case.
seconds. Wait, but milliseconds are in thousands, not in.
Yeah, no, this is definitely not right. Um, it might need to be divided by...
6,000?
Yeah. So 10.08 milliseconds per tick. Does that make sense?
Right, let's just. So you have ticks per beat times tempo. Tempo is in BPM.
Do we have anyone in the chat who isn't too tired to do math? Okay, so we have 126 beats per minute, and we have 480 ticks per quarter note.
Or ticks per beat.
Yeah, sure.
So you should have, if you multiply that, you should have 6,480.
60,480.
Oh, 60,480 x a minute. So that makes sense.
Wait, does it make sense to multiply these together? Um,
Yeah, because you have.
yes, yeah, it does.
Yes, you have to. You have to. Yeah.
Yeah, ticks per minute, and yeah, we divide that by 6,000, and we get that 10.08, which is exactly what I have here.
Yeah, and if you multiply that by the delta time, you should get the time in milliseconds.
Yeah, so we're going to make milliseconds per tick a floating point, so that we don't need to do silly fixed point math, because we have modern processors that actually have floating point units. So, if we do delta milliseconds, multiply this by state dot ticks per, no, ms per tick, and we will do a point O2F here. And let's see what we're going to get. Delta time 100 milliseconds.
That's reasonable.
100 milliseconds. 4.5 seconds. 3.2 seconds.
That could be the whoosh at the start.
Hey, Justin. 4
That
seconds.
sounds...
11.7 seconds. That's definitely not right.
But... Wait. That's key... 11.7 seconds after key on. You can have that, because the spec is set up that you don't actually have to finish the thingy if you don't care for the ADSR. If you have the sound blowing sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want it to play it in full, you don't actually ever have to call key off on that.
Yeah. Wait, we divided by
That would take
6,000.
really
That should
long
be
time.
60,000, shouldn't it? Yeah, chocolate. We divided by
Yes, that should be
60,000. We
6,000.
divided by
Yeah.
6,000 because we were dividing by seconds and then milliseconds. But yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah, it has to be 60,000, not 6,000. You're right. We are dividing by 6,000 because for me it's 2 a.m.
Yeah, and it's getting pretty late for me too. But I usually go to bed fairly early. Okay, so 10 milliseconds. This should be more reasonable. Yeah, 1 second still seems like a while, but it's probably the whoosh. Yeah, we're not getting 11.7 seconds anymore.
Note that these are on different channels, so it's reasonable for one of them to have a large... Oh wait, the delta time is for all of them.
Yeah, it
Great
is.
stuff.
Okay, I
This
think.
all looks reasonable.
Alright, hurry up and close. Yeah, once it gets to the guitar solo part, those delta times should drop drastically. And it does look like we're getting a lot of smaller ones here, so this might be that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, it's going to be a lot of really rapid fire messages at that point. Okay. We might have done math. Congratulations.
Okay, I think we can now... what you actually can do here is... wait, it will break. Or will it?
I don't
I'm
know.
wondering. I'm wondering if it will break if we try to queue. Yes, the buffers won't be processed, so they will eventually run out of buffers. Okay, so that's not a good idea.
Okay, so where is this being called? This is being called right here. Um, remove this and blame Illipri. Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, so that's the... yeah, okay. Hmm.
This is the setup for open ale.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how we should manage this. I am going to move this out of here and just into the very, very start.
It should be at the same time place as the OpenGL context, probably.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw this stuff into the game init.
Yeah, and you probably should call the destroy
The end of game
from
loop.
somewhere as well. To make sure we are clearing the memory like the good boys.
um, we should be safe to instantiate that immediately.
Yeah, we should.
You and your C# names.
Where?
Destroy was capitalized.
Oh yeah. That will always stuck with me.
Okay.
But hey, at least we have an actual destructor for
Yep.
stuff.
um, yeah, that is. I forgot that game init runs concurrently. So this cannot go in there because the files may not be loaded yet.
What were you starting there? Oh, you moved everything in there, right?
Yeah.
Just keep it in FMV. It's a nice spot.
Hold on though. No, that should be fine. Um, yeah, that's after the unpacker unpacks. Okay. Oh, the only reason it was still showing that was because it doesn't stop showing the loading screen until this code finishes.
And you can probably remove the sleep from that.
It's fine. That would cause the FMV to start.
Oh, okay, okay. That's why I put it there in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So now the BGM tech will need some adjustments.
Yeah, we need to do something here. I do still think we should be testing this out of band, like not starting the game engine. Um, we shouldn't need any part of the game engine here, so I'm just going to add a sound test. And actually just remove this. So we are going to need context. So if I run this, is this going to work? Yep. Okay, so that's much better for testing. So the tick needs to...
The tick, the first thing you can do, you can change it to probably seconds, which means we could just divide it by 60 instead of 60,000.
Well, we're doing this here, which I think is fine. That only needs to be done once there.
Because if you step into the channel take,
Where the hell did that go? There it is.
you'll see that what it does, it's loading how many buffers should be loaded into the OpenAL. So this is like a hard-coded sample rate, and then it as takes times sample rate divided by something.
Yeah.
So if you just change ticks into milliseconds or
Yeah, that's
probably
currently what we
harder
have.
to then do milliseconds times sample rate divided by 1000, right?
We should do this as floats. so we need to decide how long. I have 2 copies of this. Wait. Okay, so there is 2 reads there. Anyway,
So I think it's completely fine if you're gonna be passing the delta time into the take, and then you're gonna like put like a sleep there for now for the amount of milliseconds, and it should work. Also, the tick currently starts playing it, which should not be the case because that needs to be done kind of synchronously with it playing.
mhm. Okay, so what do we have here? So if delta time is 0, it
Oh yeah, if
continues
delta time.
reading.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, it waits for delta time.
yeah, you get that right, Justin. Okay, so we need to record the delta time.
While it's 0. Now try ticking it for the.
That should only run a single command, or up until we get the first delta time.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll really get anything. Yep.
It doesn't even start it.
Yeah, we got a little click and that was it.
Which shouldn't be, yeah, because the key off is not implemented yet, right?
Yeah.
So it just plays everything. Also, if we want to do that, we might want to remove the play from the channel tech.
Yeah, how are we gonna handle this?
So my idea was to, when you load this, you run the first tick. Then when you play it, you start ticking it so that you have one extra thing always buffered,
Yeah.
which is maybe too little because at the beginning you set up a lot of settings, so nothing really is repaired per se.
I don't know. We can try it out and see.
Like this tick method should definitely not be calling the play method.
Mm-hmm.
That's just there for testing. I don't know where the sample rate is taken from tempo. Is that correct?
We're
Or
gonna have
where does
to look at the SPU
the
for
sample
that.
rate actually come from?
I think it's per voice. Yeah, 80 PCM sample rate set to 4096 by default. Sample rate is calculated based on several different things: the root key, whatever this is, the number of cents, the pitch blend or pitch bend, and a pitch bend multiplier. Also, pitch from the sequence data, and then divided by hex 10,000 or no hex 1000. This is the calculate sample rate method. Um, this is a table with pre-computed values. So that would be mapping from, I guess, whatever math this is into the SPU format.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is the sample rate formula here.
Also, the thing we might want to do is, I don't know if we want to. What do you think? Do we want to handle key on and key off only in the ADSR? And have it run through the ADSR and then ADSR requests the data if needed?
I honestly have no idea.
Because right now it's set up in a way that if you keep requesting more data from a non-looping buffer, it will just return zeros.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't
So,
know.
so you can be playing every because like how it works in the PlayStation is everything is playing all the time. Just some of them have zeros.
Hmm. Yeah, it never stops playing, it just gets put into an infinite loop of 16 bytes of zeros.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm sort of emulating. What I was kind of thinking about emulating here. Which is why I didn't do the key on and key off, because key off just means you get to the decay state of ADSR, which eventually reaches zero.
Hmm. Yeah, we will likely have to play around with that a bit and figure out what is actually good.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I've ever implemented anything related to audio, so we're gonna have to research it for sure.
I generally think that once this is done, we probably should throw it all out and write it again.
Yeah, probably. We'll see. We'll see how it works.
I'm not entirely sure that the OOP approach is the best for this, because it causes a lot of very weird interactions between the objects in there.
Hmm.
So it might be okay to just have some kind of pool and be reading from that based on pure functions instead of implementations.
Hmm. Yeah, I do still think we should look into actually just using the off-the-shelf Java sequencer. and then just
Mhm.
implementing the synthesizer part.
Yeah, that should be like it should have even more commands than what we have. So if someone was crazy enough to write their own music for
Yeah,
this,
and I mean, if that was the case, we could also just feed standard MIDIs right in as well.
yep, exactly.
Like for this, we would just have a thin layer that literally just does what the MIDI writer I wrote does, wherever that went.
Uh-huh.
Like I've already got this code that translates it into MIDI format, so then we just feed that right into the sequencer.
Yeah. It actually might be easier to just have a MIDI player. I'm just not sure about all of the commands for looping, how those will interact.
Hmm. Yeah, well, like the thing is, that was my first effort, um,
Uh-huh.
but so Java can play MIDIs like off the shelf with sound fonts. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I did attempt to convert sound banks into sound fonts with not very much success. Um, Granted, we have figured out a fair bit more about the SSHD format since then, but I'm still not convinced that we can 100% map the uh,
Yeah,
sound
neither am
bank
I.
and SSHD into that format.
Yeah, neither am I. Because it has some extra data.
Yeah, so I am thinking it's probably in our best interest to uh, try using the Java sequencer with a custom synthesizer and see how that goes. I think that'll probably be all that we need.
Hmm. Well, in theory, it should be possible to convert everything, but we would have to set up our maybe our custom commands and
Yeah,
encode them into the sequence.
yeah. I mean, like that will be totally fine. Like the sequencer will send us those custom commands as well to our synthesizer, and we can handle them however we want.
Hmm.
And that way we avoid having to do any of this math on our own or try and get the timings right and everything like that.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Especially since the synthesizing part shouldn't be at hard because we can easily get the raw PCM and there should be ADSR libraries that could do this for us.
Yeah.
What I'm not sure about are the steps because it's gonna be using weird value ranges.
You mean what do you mean by steps?
Well, if you look at ADSR, it's done in
Oh, you mean the
steps,
ASR, yeah. Okay.
and those probably aren't gonna play nice with the value ranges that are normally used, which are
Hmm.
gonna be some floats or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to generate the data in the PlayStation format. It's should be fine. And I mean, we should get a much better result than on PlayStation hardware because it's fairly low resolution.
Yeah, it is. And the exponential implementation is horrible,
Yeah. It's
where it just runs linearly, but then it just like increases the slope of the linear
yeah.
function. We call that an exponential curve.
Yeah, like most things on the PS1, it's mostly broken.
I love how when you're reading through this documentation, it uh, lists the amount of bugs that are in there.
Yeah.
It has the explanation of why they dodged the bullet on this bug.
Yeah, much like the Legend of Dragoon code. A lot of the issues in the hardware don't actually cause as much of a problem as they should. Yeah, there you go. Exponential increase is fake, simply changes to a slower linear increase rate at higher volume levels.
Yep. It just multiplies it by 4, I think. Actually, if you go up a few lines, you have the if exponential and increase and ADSR level is higher than 6,000 hacks, then ADSR cycles equals ADSR cycles times 4. So it just like 4 times faster above certain value.
Hardware glitch. Hardware glitch.
I like the under the table. It has the if you scroll down a little. Oh, I'm just watching. It's lower. How it states like how it's broken. Uh, it's better than the SNS,
Yeah.
because at least this time it's not so bugged that it breaks.
Yeah. The PSX table is slightly bugged.
Only slightly.
Yeah. So they slightly overcorrected from the SNES, which could overflow, but the PS1 slightly underflows it. Yeah. I'm not sure if the noise generator is used. I haven't had the noise generator in the SPU emulator implemented in quite a while. Um,
Hmm.
as far as I know, Legend of Dragoon only uses samples.
Yeah, I mean, this noise generator is garbage anyway.
Oh yeah, of course.
So if we wanted a proper one, we should use some off the shelf noise
Yeah,
generator.
but I'm fairly certain it's not used at all, is what I'm
So
saying.
we can just, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had code for noise generation in the emulator
The
for a
only
while.
thing that comes to mind that could be noise generated is the battle transition.
It's
And
not.
that one is not, yeah.
No, otherwise it wouldn't be playing now. Like the noise generator doesn't exist in severed chains.
Hmm. Oh, here in the SPU flags you have the how it handles the key on and key off.
Hmm.
Like then it has a third state, which means actually over, which is what we could implement if we wanted to. I think it's wise we do this just so that we don't run the ADSR when we don't have to, because that will take some computing power.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely don't want to be running the ADSR on every single voice when it's not necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah. All
I
right.
mean,
Well,
we're still probably gonna be running less voices than the PlayStation, because
yeah,
that one's constantly running 24 of them.
yeah, all the time. Yeah. So I think we've got a pretty good idea of what we need to do here.
What I think you can do is I think you can move the for for loop into the tick loop, into the while loop on tick.
Um, I don't think we want to tick these every single time we do this while loop because this while loop will be running a bunch of like meta commands and other commands.
Wait. Yeah. This, sorry. This is correct. This way it's correct. So it should be running all of the commands, and when it encounters delta time, yeah, it should go and tick each channel. That's right.
Hmm. Okay. So yeah. So I'll commit this code. And I think as our next task in this for the sound stuff, we should try implementing uh, the Java sequencer and see how well we can get that working.
Hmm.
And then we can just listen for the events that it sends to us and write a synthesizer for that.
Uh, yeah, it
Yeah.
only needs to like send the commands to each channel.
Yeah. And that will make our lives a hell of a lot easier.
I'll probably try to implement at least the key on, key off, like completely just stop it on key off
Hmm.
without any ADSR
Yep.
to check if it sounds at least a little bit like uh, the song that's supposed to be playing. I'm interested if it will sound more like the current implementation or more like the proper one.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it should be we should be able to make out what it is trying to play just with very, very simple key on and off.
What we can't do still is the layer change. So it won't always play the right instrument.
Hmm.
Right now it will replace some cymbals and stuff like that, and even some guitar sound with the whoosh.
Mm.
But it should be a correctly timed whoosh.
And that's all that we can ask for, really.
Yes, a whoosh only mod.
Reminds me of the Ocarina of Time sound randomizer. Alright, so I think we can call it here for tonight. We made some pretty good
Yep.
progress here on figuring out, well, a lot. And
Hmm.
we definitely know what we need to do. Are you not going to let me do this? Uh,
Wait, does the real-time sequencer run in its own thread?
Good
Or
question.
how is that supposed to work?
To do rename play thread to play engine, so probably. Yeah, it does have thread grouping and stuff, so
Yeah, which is not the greatest.
yeah, it does run in its own thread.
Ah, that makes me think. Is there a different sequencer that's not real-time in the class?
Uh, why do you not want it to run in its own thread?
Because we will need a thread that's managing other sounds as well. So it would be better if it was managing all of the sound assets.
Then we would have to do all the math for the delta times and stuff. I don't think it's really an issue.
Just having like two sound threads.
Yeah,
Alright, that's I guess fine.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll be fine. I mean, if it becomes an issue, then we can kind of hack this code apart and implement our own based on it or whatever. But yeah, we can give this a try and see how well it works. I will commit this code. This is the longest git status ever. Okay, what did I change in here? Um, yeah, okay, this is all fine. Yeah, okay. Alright, do you have anything else before we cut it short here?
One thing I'm wondering about the real-time sequencer is that will that will does that will do the weighting on its own, right?
Yes, it will.
Huh. So that means that we could just call it and then call the play method on all of the channels, and it should just work. Because that should supply the raw PCM.
I don't think it supplies PCM. That's what the synthesizer is for.
No, yeah, that's like what I mean. It just supplies the commands, but it supplies them in as they are requested by the
Yeah,
by the
it
OpenAL.
yeah
So,
it will supply it'll send us commands in real time, and then we map those into audio data.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's our best bet.
Yeah, that it will be a little annoying having to restart that thread. Or how easy it is to switch out the sequence.
It looks like it has a set sequence method here, so
So you don't have to create a new one, that's good.
yeah.
I am also wondering how are we gonna to do pausing of this.
Uh, I'm sure it's possible.
I know it's definitely possible to pause and restart the OpenAL sources pretty easily, but I'm a little worried about the desynchronization. But probably if the sequencer is run before the sound thread is restarted, it should be fine, and it should have enough buffers to potentially handle some overhead,
Yeah,
or it would get a little too ahead, which would require a lot of pauses, I guess. So it should be fine.
yeah, okay. Yeah, judging by what I'm seeing here, this should work well for what we needed to do.
Hmm.
Yeah. Alright. Um, does anybody watching have any further questions before we shut it down? Give a minute for the for that to actually come up on stream. No, Drew, there is no chance of that, unfortunately. Sorry. This ever change train has no brakes.
Yeah, I'm sorry for getting off my lazy arse and actually doing something.
Exactly. We all
I will
are.
restrain myself from this.
Uh, Maybe if some more people subscribe to my Ko-fi. And speaking of Ko-fi, big thank you to my founders, Jman001, and I swear I have a second founder now. Please hold. Oh, right, it was Deningrad. Apparently this list is old. So anyway, my founders, Jman001 and Deningrad, my researchers, Zach, my mercenaries, Vorthod, Doom Metal, Platinum Surge, and Milk Lizard. If you want to subscribe to my Ko-fi account, uh, Drew will hopefully command Nightbot to put a link to that in the chat. And thanks everyone for watching.